Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of The Whale. My name is Shahbaz and I am joined by my other aquatic animals, Daniel and Anthony. Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. You know, it's TIFF season. We are in the midst of the madness that is the Toronto International Film Festival, but we're having a great time. We're watching a lot of great movies and we're talking to some really cool people.
We won't say who though.
We'll say eventually. We'll say in this review, we'll tell you who we're going to be talking to.
No, are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
I think so.
Crazy guy. All right, Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you didn't refer to me as a whale, but...
we're having a whale of a time at TIFF, though.
Yeah.
We are having a whale of a time at TIFF.
Yeah, aquatic animals I feel like was a safe way to go.
Definitely for this film,
I don't know what else to call you guys other than my friends.
Yes.
There's a lot of silence on my part.
I would agree. I'll accept friend. Friend
I took a minute to think about it. And
that was a minute?
That was a long minute. Or a short minute.
My minutes are very short.
Oh, yeah, because you're living in the future.
I do live in the future.
I forgot about that. But yes, we are at TIFF 22. This is one of our first reviews, I guess, for TIFF.
Nope, there's probably other ones.
one of our first.
One of the in the first dozen of interviews.
Yeah. I honestly, like, it's been such a roller coaster ride.
It has, and you know what? And we joke, but yeah, we're watching a lot of things in a very random order.
That's right. That's
right
why.
now.
Yes.
So this review.
It's probably the last one.
Yeah, this review is going to be coming out on Sunday, September 11th. And there are probably other films. I think our Weird Al review is probably
you're right.
Out right
you're
now.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Time is a flat circle, especially with TIFF.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Time doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But you know what does matter? That the movie podcast has a brand new episode out every single Monday, and throughout the week we have some review episodes and interviews as well on all the latest movies and series. Make sure you're following us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. And don't forget, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and even on YouTube. Write in the comments. Let us know what you think about this show. You have something to say about that?
No. I was going to say, like, you could leave comments on YouTube. Did you know that?
Well, we've been getting a lot of interesting comments on YouTube.
Baby.
Very spicy comments, I guess you could say. So please go ahead and add some spice if you like. And join our Discord, because our Discord is popping. It's finger popping, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a 21
Jump Street reference right there. Yeah, for sure. And you can write into the show at hello@themoviepodcast.ca as well. Make sure, like I mentioned before, we have YouTube. So if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you get a free smile from one of us. Most likely Anthony, because if I know Anthony, he's all smiles all day.
He is known as a smiler with all of us. Yeah.
When you pay me, I smile.
And you can check out our show notes for all of those links and more. The movie again that we're referring to today is reviewing today, not referring. We'll refer to it. Is The Whale, and this is from A24 and Elevation Pictures here in Canada. So huge thanks to them as well for distributing it here. Starring Brendan Fraser, Chau, Sadie Sink, Simpkins, and Samantha Morton. This is directed by Darren Aronofsky, who you have definitely heard of if you know movies. If you know film, you know Darren Aronofsky.
You do. I think we should say who we're going to be interviewing, because I think that's pretty cool.
You sure?
I think we should say.
I will let you tell the audience who we're talking to.
Shay, we had the opportunity to watch The Whale. And as we said, it does star Brendan Fraser, and it's based on a play from Samuel D. Hunter.
Yeah.
So on the movie podcast, I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to interview Samuel D. Hunter and Brendan Fraser.
B. Frage
is now a friend of the show. I was going to say of the show. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I think this year, especially when we were talking about Hollywood comebacks, and we've always loved Brendan Fraser. I think we talk about The Mummy, I think, every episode of the movie podcast.
We've definitely brought up The Mummy a lot.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser, Ke Huy Quan, people that we've grown up loving their films, and Brendan Fraser has been hasn't really done anything in Hollywood over the last 10 years or so, 10 plus years. And it looks like he's going to be coming back now full force with probably a most likely Oscar nominated role. So,
oh my goodness, yeah, for sure.
We are so thankful for the opportunity, and obviously our friends at Elevation for setting this all up for us. So we're not exactly sure when that interview is going to be dropping. Just stay tuned, of course, as Shay said, to all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd. You'll see it because we are going to be milking that interview a lot.
What an amazing experience that must have been for you, because just getting a chance to talk to him, because he's someone that we grew up watching.
Yeah.
And he was always extremely likable. Like, that's what Brendan Fraser was known for everything that he did. You could see him as that empathetic character in almost all his movies. So that must have been awesome.
It will be once it happens, I hope. Or did it happen already?
Oh,
you'll see soon.
We'll see. Anthony, can you tell us what The Whale is all about?
I can definitely do my best to tell you what The Whale is all about.
Well, yeah, please.
The Whale invites us to identify with a man in a precarious state of isolation that has been exacerbated by a potentially lethal mix of technology and our culture of body shaming.
It's a very interesting synopsis.
Definitely.
Wow, that really,
an interesting one.
Really kind of leaves it ambiguous, I think, what I like about it, too. Daniel, give us your first reactions to The Whale.
When we heard that this film was going to be coming out, Brendan Fraser is going to be playing someone who's almost like a 600-pound man who is just, who has a very turbulent, relationship with his daughter and his life. I'm like, this is a very interesting role for Brendan Fraser to play. As we were saying, as someone who we have not seen, leading in a huge film like this in a long time, to come back with a film like this, and to come back in such a way, what a movie! I just have to say, right off I was a complete wreck after watching this movie, And Darren Aronofsky, for me, I think, brilliant director, but I don't think I gravitate towards this film. Right. He wouldn't be on my top 10 list. He wouldn't be on a director that name some of your favorite movies. Mm-hmm. His movies wouldn't be there. And it's nothing against him as a creator, because he is brilliant. I just gravitate in a different direction, like you said, Shay. So to have this movie come and just to be just deeply moving and just devastatingly beautiful story about life and then regrets and missing out, there's just so much that I took from it as an audience member, and it's just as somebody who just sees the pain. And I think all of us, this movie is anchored by Brendan Fraser's performance. Mm-hmm. He is phenomenal in this. He is playing this man who life has gone by and he's dealing with so much loss. And, we always look at films with drug addiction and alcohol addiction. We never really think about food addiction, because we think food isn't bad for us. We don't think of food that way. But when you see the relationship that Charlie, his character name, has with food, and then also what he's dealing with in his own life and his own insecurities, this is a heavy film, and I mean that, and I don't mean that as a pun at all. I just mean that as emotionally, this is a lot of movie to take on. It's going to drain you of emotions, but it's a beautiful film, and I think it's also just something that it's a film that you should experience. And I just, at top to bottom, Brendan Fraser is phenomenal. And I do want to also say Chau, who is just amazing in this film too. She, I think, again, I don't like talking about, this should be nominated for this or this, but when it comes to performances in this film, Brendan Fraser is obviously going to be the leading one. But Chau, I think, as
the support
as the supporting role in this film is fantastic, and this movie really moved me. It really, really did move me, and I did not expect to. I think just be so overcome by emotion by the end of it that the lights turned on really fast, and the credits are also
the tears were still going down your face.
Yeah, it's black text on a white background, so I'm like, okay, everyone could see me cry now. Yeah. Really beautiful film, very dark film, but very just I think required.
Oh yeah. I really quick, before I get to Anthony here, I just wanted to say that movies that are based on plays, for me, typically don't pan out that well. I tend to find them a little bit slower, a
little stagnant in where they are, right?
Not one that I felt with this, but yeah, Anthony, please give us your first reactions.
Yeah, this movie for me, I didn't know much going into it other than Brendan being this obese man. He's playing this character who's super obese, and he has this complication with his daughter, and that's the story. I didn't know it was based on the play, but man, the performance of Brendan Fraser, because this movie takes place in one location, the performance of Brendan Fraser is absolutely amazing. Like you're just drawn to him. You listen to him, you watch him, you see all him interact. Even as a 600-pound man, you have to act as a 600-pound man.
Yeah.
Even though they're all prosthetics, you have to feel like you have this weight on, and he pulls it off so well.
I believed every step, every movement, every wheeze from him moving. You believe that was what he looks like or who he is as a person.
You don't believe his prosthetics. You don't believe that.
It feels like he has this weight, and it's also this burden that he has on him, as well as all the other things that has happened in his life that has become this tragedy of Charlie. There are moments where you'll be shocked. There are moments you'll cry. It's a very interesting experience because, again, it's not a huge budget film. You're not going from one location to another. It all takes place in his apartment. Because he is 600 pounds. He's not moving.
Right.
He's not going places. But the stories that interact within this, 4-wall location are very, very traumatic and very funny and very lighthearted. And you'll see Brendan pull off these different emotions. Because he's so well. Like when you think of Brendan Fraser, you kind of think of like that comedic, the 90s vibe that he always gives.
That charming,
you see
right?
it, and you see it in this, but then you see a seriousness that you might have seen in Crash, and he combines all these emotions to create this character of Charlie. I think a lot of people will find relatability in this movie, even though the weight of this movie, and it's not a pun, is very heavy. Because it's just you're dealing with food addiction. And that's not even the story, but it plays a part of this movie. It is something that a lot of people will probably watch and realize themselves. Maybe they've gone through some sort of tragic event and how food has become maybe a crutch for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they had someone they lost, and then food becomes that thing they just need.
They go to, right?
And you'll interact with characters that enable him. There are characters that are trying to save him. There are characters that don't even want to be with him.
Right.
So you will feel like this person because there's times, and I think a lot of people have gone through these types of emotions, and maybe the food is not the addiction. Maybe it's drugs, maybe it's alcohol, but it's just a substitute. But Brendan Fraser pulls this off so well that you feel for his character. You feel empathy. You feel like, man, this poor soul that's trapped in this house, that he's trapped inside his body, essentially. He's trapped inside him.
Right.
And he can't be rescued.
Right.
One of the things I think that really drew me to his performance was just how likable he is, because his character, despite being the way that he is, he's so positive about everything. He's a very positive person, even though he's, been dealt a very, very shitty hand.
Right.
And I related to it a lot because, I've gone through loss in my life. And one of the first things that I did to cope with the loss was I ate a lot and I put on a lot of weight. Granted, I didn't go, 600 pounds like his character did. But I understood it because anxiety drove me to a place where food was healing.
Yeah.
And so I felt that when I saw this character, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like I would have done the same thing. Or I felt that. I feel this. I know what this person's going through. Because it's true. And, whenever times were getting tough for his character, the first thing he would do is he would just binge eat or just absolutely stuff himself to the point where he was really trying to plug those holes that were leaking for him, emotionally. But Brendan Fraser is phenomenal. He's so good in this movie. He really lures you in, and I think a lot of what this movie did was it focused on his eyes a lot.
I was about to say that. I was waiting for you. I'm like, it's his eyes.
It's his eyes.
It's his eyes bring you into it.
They really bring you in. They really focus you in. And I don't know if it's because that's the part of Brendan Fraser that you remember the most, from your childhood, but it drew me right in, and it kept me engaged because he was absolutely phenomenal. And you mentioned Hong Chau. She's so good. She's, I think the first time I really saw her was in Watchmen, the series that came out on HBO. Yep. And then we started seeing her coming out of more things. But man, there isn't a performance in this movie that didn't do it for me. Even seeing Simpkins, who I hadn't seen since The Nice Guys, I guess.
Yeah. Endgame, I guess.
Endgame. Yeah, you're right.
A little cameo
Endgame. There. Also phenomenal. I'm glad that he still has a career going on too, because everyone brings their A game. You feel for all the characters in this movie, and this movie never it got me really sad and it got me crying, but I don't think I ever felt just devastated by it.
Yeah, and I think that's I think the ending, or not the ending, but like there are moments, because this is a stage play. So like Anthony mentioned, we are confined to this room, but I also think it worked because of who Charlie is as a character. He feels confined.
Yes.
So you feel that, but you do feel that like every kind of character in the film kind of gets their monologue moment.
Yeah.
That I am on stage, I am performing. But it works in here. And I think when you have a film that's taking place over the span about of a week, and then a character like Charlie, he's at the stage of his life that he is, you're just so drawn into what's happening. And again, if you were to, I think, just to kind of break down there's so much of this movie that's just day-to-day life, but it's told in such a visceral and just dramatic way that you can't help but just be lost in it. And and Shay, you spoke to your own personal experience too with food and dealing with loss anxiety. I'm the same way, and and we've bonded over that. And it's like like I said at the top of this review, like we often think about our vices as things like alcohol and drugs and things like that. Not for us specifically.
No, not for us.
But food is something that we need to have to survive.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll think about just the easiest option. And Brendan Fraser's character Charlie in this film even says, he's like, I've always been a little bit bigger. But, as he's kind of slipped deeper and deeper into a depression and losing himself, you see what he became because of that. Right. And it's just, I really do think it's probably the best performance of the year that we've seen so far. He really is remarkable in this film, and it just makes me so excited to see what he does next. And I hope it makes Warner Brothers realize, damn, we had Brendan Fraser on the come up when he was about to be hot again, and then we deleted his movie with him as a villain in background.
I that's the one performance that I really wanted to see so badly. One of the things that also I really enjoyed about this film, and I mean I think everyone's gonna have a different interpretation of this, but I personally did not feel this movie was a fat shaming film.
No, not at all.
I feel like this movie highlights what anxiety and depression can do to a body, what it has the effects of, and how that effect can inherently just damage you as a person.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't just like, no, don't do this.
No.
It was just like, this is who this character is.
A fact, and this
is who this character is. It's not him eating every scene of this movie.
Right. No.
You see him eating.
Yeah.
In his deepest and darkest of moments, and you see that on his face that he doesn't want to do
exactly.
It, right?
And you also, one of the things that I loved about his character as well was his passion and his drive, was always for people to be honest with him.
Yes.
And he would see the reactions that, again, since he didn't really go out much, he knew the reactions that people would have about him. But all he wanted to foster was just honesty from people.
And he was a positive person.
And he was a positive person about that. And I think that's why you are so in love with the character. And Brendan Fraser being that character makes absolute sense.
One thing I noticed a lot in this movie is Brendan's character also apologizes a lot.
Yeah.
He says sorry. Yeah. And I think this is his way of like apologizing for maybe the way he looks or maybe the way he deals with.
That's his own self-conscious,
he
right?
He continuously says sorry, and as an audience member, you will see that, and you might pick up on it. But his character is so he regrets everything he's done that he's sorry for everything he's done. Like no matter what he does, like he'll make choke on something on something that he was eating, and he apologizes like. He apologizes for everything, and there's just this tragedy with him. And I feel for him. I felt for his character.
You'll stay with it long after watching, right?
Yeah, and another thing I felt watching it is that I saw a little bit of Brendan in this character, because he hasn't been out in Hollywood. He hasn't been making movies. He slowly has come back in the past 5 years, right? But this is big performance, and it's been a while since we've seen it, and you can actually see a little bit of that sadness, and not like whatever has happened to him in the past, and how Hollywood might have blacklisted him, but you just see like his sorrow in this character as well.
Yeah,
it just plays on top of it. Like I feel like there's a lot of him in this character in Charlie.
Yeah,
rather than him playing Charlie, this person who was written, there's a lot of Brendan in this character as well, and I think you see it in his performance, and you see it in his actions.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to add? We are not doing final recommendations.
We didn't talk about Sadie Sink, and I know maybe you might be listening because Sadie Sink is top of the charts in the world right now. Sadie Sink did
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
This is again another big performance for her.
Yeah, she's great in it. Yeah,
she's great in it, and I think it just showcases her range.
Yeah.
As an actress, going into Stranger Things season 3, we always wondered like, who is this girl? Who is this? What is she gonna be? Because we always look at
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown is like the lead female star of this series, but here's Sadie Sink coming under the sink.
Yeah.
What is that a saying?
Was she in season 2? She started,
season 2.
Right?
Sorry,
yeah,
season 2.
Yeah.
Coming under and like just owning this role, taking on Darren Aronofsky as the director, like that's huge. Like he's a interesting director because he deals with interesting subject matters, and he also has a style and a look and a feel, and it's very raw and real at times. So here she is just diving into this role, and I gotta give her kudos for her performance as his daughter.
Yeah, I mean you have to think about, like, she is someone who is just dealing with a world of hate towards her father. Obviously, we won't reveal too much on why, but a lot of this movie is Brendan Fraser's character Charlie, trying to make amends with Ellie, who Sadie Sink plays. Who, she's great in this film. She is just full of anger and just sadness, I think, and I think she plays that so well. And obviously, we've seen her do that in Stranger Things, and she does that here again. It's a great cast, and I think Sadie Sink and Brendan Fraser have great chemistry with one another as well too. So
and you feel their pain, and I think when you look at Aronofsky's filmography here, I think this is definitely one of his most accessible films as well.
Yeah, and I'm curious that. Oh, sorry.
No, just in the sense that like it's a lot easier to grasp. There's a lot more that you can kind of pick apart from it. But
and that's literally what I was going to tie into. Obviously no spoilers, but the ending of this film, I think, is going to bring some discussion as well too.
Yes,
where I'm like, okay, now we're getting to more of the Aronofsky
that was the most
territory,
Aronofsky part of the film.
So it's going to be interesting to see everyone's take on this when it comes out. I believe in December. It's going to be releasing. Yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
a little bit of a wait. A little bit of a wait.
But again, that was our review for The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser and Sadie Sink, Chau, Simpkins, and Samantha Morton, I believe.
Yeah, and we're going to have Brendan Fraser on the show.
And we're going to have B. Frage on the show here, along with the writer and director of the play as well. So that's going to be really, really awesome. As always, you can catch a brand new episode of The Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for our review episodes and interviews on all the latest movies and series. You got to make sure you're following us at The Movie Podcast. We're so close to 1,000 followers on Twitter. Actually, by the time you probably listen to this, we might even be at 1,000 followers on Twitter. So who knows? We have a lot of great content up right now on our YouTube channel and our episodes for Rings of Power. The show is still going hot. We've been featured in some great ads as well, so that's really awesome to see.
It is,
Keep an eye out on that. Give us 5 stars if you can on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, ring the bell, download the app. I don't know what all the
download the app. Wow, we're making them do so much.
Subscribe to YouTube Premium.
Don't yell at us. Don't comment.
Don't yell at us. Don't be mean.
Don't comment mean things.
Any of the mean comments, you can leave them feedback. If you want. By all means, leave your mean comments. Yeah. We always read them. And 99.9% of the time, we just laugh.
Shay, you said something in the car that said, "Oh, I like the way you said that." I don't remember what you said.
Well, I said that we're an open door.
Oh yeah, if you like us, great. If you don't want, leave. But we're an open door.
Yeah, you can come back and people come and go. So we're an open door.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was this time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.